Alright, morning guys. It's the 12th of May. It's Monday. We're going to have a look at kind of what I'm looking at for the week on the market. Draw some of the levels that I look at. Kind of get an idea of what we can expect this week. Obviously we gapped up a lot. ES is almost up 3% and Q's up 3.8%. If you're going to trade on a day like today, you definitely want to be careful. Right, so this is an hour chart on ES. I've set the HTF tool to monthly levels. So I have the monthly 1.1 up here, so that'll be, what's today, the 12th, so we're halfway through, so there's an 84% chance to get hit. I've marked that, so that's sitting at 5867.75. And then I've got the monthly 1.2, which is 79%, which is 5962. So those levels are basically telling me what the likelihood we'll get to those prices before the month is out. So keep in mind, this doesn't happen today. It could happen at any point during the month, but based off this, I would say the 1.1 at least we'll get this week. So I'm just going to make a note here of some of the price levels I'd like to see. So ES for this week, I'd like to see 5867.75. Okay, which is this key level here. Now, interesting enough, if we look at our monthly, there's a 0.2 down here. So the 0.2 is an internal range. The internal range only is really relevant once we've run the monthly high. So today we ran previous month high, so now this level is in play. So we have a retrace level at 5584.25. I don't think we'll see this until some of the strength goes. Honestly, we might not see it at all. This looks pretty strong to me, but there is still a lot of time left in the month, so we're not going to jump to too many conclusions here. I've marked out this new week opening gap. These tend to be quite magnetic. It's quite large actually. It's about that big. This green box, this is just a 4-hour fair value gap. 4-hour fair value gap. If we look at our chart on the daily, let's see, I mean, that looks really quite bullish to me into these levels here. One thing to keep in mind though, I know a lot of people are still quite bearish. If we were going to reject anyway, right, let's say if we were going to take another downturn, it would be between the 0.75 and the 0.85. So if we are going to continue going bearish, then this is kind of like where it would need to happen, in my opinion. We start closing above up in here, then to me this run, this bearishness is over. So we'll keep our minds open on that to see what's going to happen in this level. To me, I think we'll just keep running up for the highs through the rest of the month. We do have an unfilled gap here. I'm kind of expecting it, to be honest, to do the same thing. Have a strong Monday and then just keep pushing up to these levels. Maybe we come and fill it later, but I don't think it necessarily has to fill this gap, because if we look at our volume, there is a significant, quite a bit of volume in this area now. We've got a small dip there, small dip there. We zoom out a bit more to see what our volume looks like. Yeah, lots of volume there. So yeah, I think we'll just play it day by day and see if we start getting a lot of bearishness now to here, then we could see this gap filling out. But I'm not going to take a trade based off that. So that's ES. If we drop it back down to our weekly levels, we can see we've already ran through most of the weekly targets that I'd normally look for. So see here, we ran the weekly high, we've hit the 1.1, 1.2, 1.4, 1.5, and there's the 2 extension, which is a low percentage chance on the week. But obviously with this kind of Monday, this is probably like an out of character week, so we could see all those levels get hit. Yeah, so not really anything you can really look at on the weekly. Daily will be the same thing. What I will be doing is tomorrow and onwards I'll be using the daily range. So when we get to tomorrow, this candle will be our daily range, and we'll see if we break the high or low, then we can kind of see which direction we're going to go in. But for right now, I'm bullish. I won't take any positions unless we get some nice retracements and, you know, something a bit more reasonable than 3% up on the day. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at on ES. So we'll just leave that like that. Alright, let's have a look at NQ. Yeah, these were the previous week levels that I was talking about. We ran through all of those. So we get rid of these, switch our indicator to the weekly. I imagine we'll see the same thing on the weekly here. Yeah, we've pretty much blown through all of our weekly levels already. Got our new week opening gap here. So I'll pull that out, label it. Let's have a look at our monthly. Okay, so this was the monthly high. We actually ran that on the 1st of May. We pretty much ran the previous month high right away. Took a while, but the monthly 1.1 was 100% chance to get hit. Look at where we opened up, right down that monthly 1.1. We've already taken the monthly 1.2. We've got the monthly 1.4. So I don't mark levels if they've already been hit. So I'm just already looking for higher levels. Monthly 1.4, 64% chance. I'll mark the 1.5. Monthly 1.5, 44% chance. Okay. So really on NASDAQ, we'll be looking for 21,477.50 and 21,838.50. Not necessarily this week, but potentially for the month. Let's have a look at our daily chart. Yeah, very strong on the daily chart. Same thing here. If we look at this range here, we're in the area. If we are going to reject, this is where we would have to do it. I personally don't think that's what's going to happen. I think we'll carry on bullish, but we'll see. If I were to get bearish again, it would be like under this structure here, like 19,142. I wouldn't try to take anything major in this range over here, because we could quite easily retrace down to the 0.2. That's a 63% chance to be retraced to. So keep an eye on that. Yeah. If we think about our monthly profiles, you know, Monday makes the low, Friday makes the high, like 19% of the time in the market. So we could be watching this low. Monday and Tuesday typically make the low. So I'd be seeing tomorrow, if Tuesday dips down into here and then we start getting some bullish structure, I'd be looking to target that 1.4, 1.5 on the monthly. Let's have a look at gold. Just remove all these old drawings. So gold's interesting. We've ran the previous week low already. So I'll just mark that out so we can see it. Previous week low. We've taken the 1.1. We've got the 1.2 here. That's a 70% chance. Got the 1.4 down here. That's a 43% chance. Okay. So gold, we'll be looking at 3198.59 and 3158.55. Let's have a look at gold on the monthly. Okay, so gold on the monthly, we're actually just right in the middle of the range. So for this week, I'd be bearish, just because we ran that previous week low. Looking for those levels. I imagine once we lose this level here, we'll probably push down to like 130, 3100. I'll mark this out on my chart. I think that level makes a lot of sense. Okay, go back to the daily. Yeah, we're already quite extended on the daily, so I wouldn't take anything on gold today, but I'd be curious to see how we open up and react tomorrow. If we get a little trace minutes here, push back down, kind of zigzag through these levels. Let's have a look at our volume nodes quick, see if we see anything interesting. Yeah, quite low volume here at 3178. So I'll be watching for something to happen around there. So I'll just make that green. And then right over there is quite low volume. But my weekly target would probably be somewhere around 3100. That's obviously quite an aggressive target, but if we look at where monthly high was there, previous month low was here, this would make sense to run these levels if they're going to try to take these lows. But for the week, I'd stay bearish, because once we run, if we go back here to the weekly, we've taken the previous week low. So historically, that only gives us about a 20% chance to then come and take previous week high. So anywhere between the 0.8 to 0.4, to me that would be a good retracement if these levels have not been hit. If we come down and take these levels, then you could, if the structure looks good, you could take longs back up to the weekly low. But I'd be I'd be very cautious for doing that. Okay, that's all I really have for gold. Bitcoin ran its weekly high, hasn't run the weekly 1.1 yet, so weekly 1.1, that's a 95% chance, so that's probably extremely likely to happen. Weekly 1.2, 75% chance, so we want to pay attention to that. And then look at that, the weekly 1.4 has a 50% chance. Now what's also by the weekly 1.4? 110, which would be all-time high. So to me that's a 50% chance that this week we will hit all-time high at 110. So for Bitcoin, I'll be watching 106.141 and 107.287, and potentially 110k. Yeah, that looks strong to me. We've got the 0.2 here. I'd be looking for retracements down into 101, 102. If I was going to get long again, I'd be getting long in that area. So our buy zone be around 101 to 102. Alright, that's it for now. Yeah, I'd be very cautious today on Monday with the markets opening up so high. What I would be expecting at the open today is that when we open up at the bond open, for it to be quite choppy. So choppy, push down into these ranges. If it gets aggressive to the upside in here, I'll try to target that 1.1 bit. The only problem with these days when it moves like this is that the range can be deceiving. Like this right here is 1.5%, and that's in 10 minutes. So that range can be deceiving because you look at that and you think, oh well, if this, then it could probably hit this level. But from here to the monthly high is another 0.5%, which would put ES at up 3.2% for the day, which could happen. It's not like it doesn't happen, but just keep the size of the range in mind when you're planning your moves. But if we open and we're still in this range over here, I would expect it to be quite a choppy open. So I'll probably be sitting on my hands. I might be looking at the 15-minute opening range. If it looks good and we break out nicely, I'll take a trade off of that. But I won't be swinging for these highs or lows today. I'll kind of wait, see how it plays out, and then make a decision after that. But I will catch you guys in the Discord, and we'll take it day by day, see how these targets are looking, what the reality of them hitting is as each day goes by. Because remember, when today closes, we'll be looking at today's high and low. If we take the low, we're looking for some of these levels. If we take the high, we're looking for some of these levels. We'll just play it safe. But alright guys, we'll catch you on the live stream.